Making a Murderer,
Netflix
and chill. Welcome to another episode of Netflix and Chill, where we are going to be talking the second season, the second part, whatever you want to call it, of the chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Keep in mind, if you haven't seen part one, or if you haven't seen any of the Sabrina things, this will contain spoilers regarding part one, season one of the show. So yes, Sabrina Spellman is back. Of course, she's the main character, played by Kiernan Shipka. She is now predominantly at the witch school. She does have a little bit in the normal school, but for the most part, this season takes place in the witch school. What does that mean? Well, it means that her friends, what was it, Harvey, Agatha, and now Theo, Lachlan Watson's transformed or gone completely over to being a boy now, and is thus referred to as Theo. I said it was woke when I commented about the first season. It continues to be even more so going into the second season. Oddly enough, they do have a couple of episodes that kind of deal with this whole becoming Theo thing, and how the person themselves is dealing with it, as well as people at the school. But oddly enough, it's not made a big deal out of, and I don't know if I thought that was a good or bad thing. I think in one aspect, I think it's good because they don't dwell on it, right? Eventually people at the school accept it. She becomes one of the boys, right? She becomes one of the boys. But to get there, Sabrina had to use her magic. So now that Sabrina's no longer at the school so much and using her magic, she's, like Theo doesn't have the skills anymore, I guess. At least it didn't seem that way. It seemed like the skills were only there when Sabrina used magic. So I don't know what Theo became accepted for. Theo doesn't have anymore, but Theo is still accepted. So it's good. They don't dwell on it, but they do touch on it in a couple of episodes throughout the season. Also, because Sabrina is now at the witch school more, she has to have some kind of a arch rival, and thus the Blackwood daughter Prudence Knight, played by Tati Gabrielle, is now a more mainstay person, right? You may know her from the 100 as Gaia, or the Owl House TV series as Willow, the voice of Willow. She's young, so she hasn't been in a ton of stuff. But if you saw the Emoji Movie, she played the Addie. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, she's mainly known for essentially the Sabrina and the 100. So she becomes kind of the main counterforce against her in terms of classmates. Oddly enough, her two sisters don't get as much prominence in the season as you would expect. They're just secondary characters again, essentially like they were in the first season. But again, Prudence Knight is more there, because Sabrina is no longer, love affair with Harvey thing going on. She needs a new beau, right? So there is a hunky warlock who thus catches her eye, like, almost immediately. It's like there is some little bit of play at the beginning of the season where there's a little bit of Harvey going on still, but that's season one, right? So it's in the past. New beau it's a very, very different. It's hilarious. So she was the goody two shoes and into Harvey in season 1. And now she's, she has done what she needs to become a witch, so she's got some evil going on. So she's into the super hunky warlock who's evil, right? It's just so complete transformation. So she went from innocent to, they don't really show it, but yeah, I mean, it's constant, probably knocking boots going on, because by the sounds of it, the witch and warlock school, that's all they do, outside of learning magic. But yeah, that is the character of Nicholas Scratch, played by Gavin Leatherwood. Who, oddly enough, though I thought he looked familiar, I couldn't really come across anything that was really jumping out towards me. So, this is his claim to fame here. Two other characters that come to prominence because it happens more at the school are the principal, I guess you'd call it, the head warlock, Father Faustus Blackwood, father of Prudence Knight, played by Richard Coyle. Yes, Richard Coyle is well, he's a veteran. He's a veteran of all sorts of stuff. Whether it be, 1999's Topsy Turvy, things like Young Blades, or the television series Coupling, where he played Jeffrey Murdoch, or the TV miniseries called Strange, where he played John Strange. He was in a whole bunch of stuff. If you saw, where I know him from was back in 2012. He ended up in a couple of films. I think they may have both played Toronto After Dark. I can't remember. But one was Grabbers, where he played Garda O'Shea, and the other one was Outpost Black Sun, the Nazi zombie things, where he played Wallace. So those were the two places that I kind of knew him from. But he's been in a bunch of other things, not super huge roles or anything like that, or super huge projects, but in a bunch of stuff that's, nothing to sneeze at, essentially. The other person of note would be the teacher at the old school who becomes, I guess, the headmaster of the old school, or regular school. I don't know who it was, possessed by, I guess, a witch. And her name's Mary Wardwell, played by Michelle Gomez, who is known for, she was in Doctor Who, where she played Missy. And a whole bunch of stuff I don't really know. Like something Green Wing, a television series. Maybe all this stuff is only out in the UK. Bad Education, Psycho Bitches. That actually sounds like it might be interesting. But yeah, she was, where I knew her from was Doctor Who, where she plays Missy. And I'm not going to go into that anymore without giving that away. But yeah, she becomes sort of a confidant for Sabrina, in the sense that, like her aunts should be the confidants, but because they aren't, because they're kind of looking out for her and they're playing the role of parents, there's a lot of you can't do that. Whereas because Mary Wardwell is, a witch, but not a parent, it's more along the lines of, well, there's nothing to say that you can't do that, right? You might not want to, but maybe you do. Here's how you do it if you want to do it, right? Like a little bit of nudge, but at the same time, still being, kind of parenting, but not so much controlling, not so much looking out for her safety as it is, just trying to propel her forward and such. Another person who has had, I don't know if you'd say it's an upgrade in terms of how much they are in the show. I think they may have been the same as season 1, but I think they take more of a important role, and that's Ambrose Spellman, played by Chance Perdomo. He wasn't it as much in the first season, but in the first season you're just kind of getting to know him and Sabrina's relationship with them, as in terms of family. But in the second season, they rely on him a lot more for spells and stuff like that, and as a character, and he becomes the somewhat same aged type person. They're going to the same school type thing. So there's that idea of, yes, you are family, but you're kind of like a friend as well. So I can go to you as much as I can go to the Mary Wordwell character, and do that whole, looking for help, looking for advice type thing. That being said, again, because this takes place more in the witch domain, there's less high school drama-ish type stuff and more witchcrafty type things, right? There's more spells and demons, and I think as a result there's a little bit more of that Buffy type influence with people in masks that don't really look realistic and such like that. But it also is a lot of mystery and a lot of mingling and intertwining and backstabbing and family versus family type stuff. There's more of that going on because it's more in the witch's realm and what's going on there. So there's the Spellman family, and of course the Blackwood family, and the whole dynamic of these things, and what does Sabrina actually, who is she? What is her past? What does that mean? Why is the devil always, kind of, going to her more so, it seems, than others and such? What's the fascination? Why does he have to have her? Why her specifically? So I think the season kind of deals with that more than anything, and without giving too much away. Obviously comes to a climax and a revealing of sorts at the end, and a very big change come the end of the season, which you'll have to wait until I talk about season 3 to find out what that means. But I will say I think it's on par almost with season 1. Again, a little less high school drama and that whole high school thing, and more with the witch. So if you're looking for more witch Sabrina and less high school Sabrina, then season 2 is probably going to be your preferred season over the 2 seasons. If you're looking for more high school, then you'll probably enjoy the first season more than the second season. But again, it is witch school. They are still kind of like witch high school, so there is a little bit of that in there in season 2. So you're not going to be totally left out. Yeah, my biggest problem, I think, would have to be with the fact that Sabrina can, like when you're watching Harry Potter, they're learning spells and all this kind of stuff. Sabrina never really learns anything, but for some reason she can do shit. Right? She never really learns how to use powers or any, learning spells specifically and all that kind of stuff. She just manages to do shit. Kind of like, like the Harry Potter of the world. It's not like where you have Hermione Granger who's studying and studying and studying and because of that knows how to do things. No, this is more the Harry Potter who's, he's there, he goes to school, he learns the things, but hey, you know what? I'm Harry Potter. Well, it's like that. It's like, I'm Sabrina. You get where I'm going? So, that being said, again, there's more of her and her relationship, a lot of her and her relationship with Nicholas Scratch, and developing that. That's the big a good portion of the development of the second season, as well as the history and backstory of Sabrina before she was in the schools. And then, of course, there's all sorts of single episodes that just really have nothing to do with anything else, and they're just part of the fun. And there's episodes which are kind of mini. There's a lot of mini arcs to eventually come about to the big overall arc of the season. So that's good. So you have a lot of things going on. So there's a lot of changes. It's not monotonous, but at the same time, it's still Sabrina. It's very much the same locations, the same costuming, the same stuff. It's just Sabrina the innocent is gone, and now Sabrina the witch is around, even though she has a kind heart. But there you go. That's my thoughts on the second season, or part 2, or whatever you want to call it. Netflix has all different names for these things. For Chilling Adventures of Sabrina from Netflix. Let me know down below if you're enjoying the season, enjoying the series, whatever. If you haven't even gotten into it, should you? I think so. But tell me why you'd be hesitant. Love to hear from you. Keep everything spoiler free. We're not dealing with anything in the season 3 yet, so that'll be another video at another time. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.